Hey kiddies! So today we are going to learn about a man named Jonah. So you see, Jonah was a prophet of God, which means he would listen to what God had to say and then go and tell the people what God had to say. One day, God asked Jonah to go to the city called Nineveh. Jonah really didn't want to go. You see, he was afraid of the people there because they were known for doing really, really bad things. But God had instructed Jonah that he needed to go to Nineveh and tell these people to turn away from the bad that they were doing and to start doing good. Jonah was way too afraid though. In fact, he was so afraid that he thought that he could run away from God and hide from God. That way he wouldn't have to do what God has asked him to do. So off Jonah went, he got on a ship and went far out to sea. So he really thought, there's no ways God is going to find me here. But God knew where Jonah was. So God sent a massive storm that was tossing the boat to and fro. The sailors on the boat were so afraid. They didn't understand what was happening. They thought that the ship was going to sink. Then Jonah came out and he said, it's my fault that there's a big storm. God is cross with me because I have run away from him. So the sailors asked, well, what should we do? Jonah said, you'll have to throw me overboard if you want the storm to stop. So the sailors threw him overboard and whoa, the storm stopped. While Jonah was floating in the water, a big fish came and swallowed him. While he was in the fish's stomach, which I'm pretty sure was really dark and really cold, he had time to think about what he had done and to pray to God and to speak to God. But now just imagine being in this big fish's stomach. It's completely dark. I'm sure some of you are afraid of the dark. I definitely am, especially when there's thunder and lightning. Imagine how cold Jonah must have been as well. I'm sure you guys don't feel very safe when you're cold and it's dark. Jonah prayed to God and God heard Jonah's prayers. So God got the fish to spit Jonah out onto the shore, and there Jonah said, Lord, I will do what you have asked me to do. So God told Jonah again, go to the city of Nineveh and tell the people my message. So Jonah did just that. And you know what was so amazing? These bad people didn't harm Jonah. In fact, they listened to what Jonah had to say and they all turned to God to serve God. How amazing is that? Through his fear, Jonah overcame that fear by trusting in God, and God protected him. So just like us, when God asks us to do something, we don't need to be afraid. We have victory because God gives us faith to overcome our fears. I hope you guys enjoy this story and look at our object lesson coming up now. Hey kiddies, so you remember how we just learned about fear and how we can overcome our fear and be victorious with God in our lives? Well, this is a lesson just to show you how it works. So we have a jar here, and this jar represents us and our lives and our hearts. This is baking soda, and this represents the fear that goes into our lives and into our hearts. And this vinegar over here represents Jesus Christ. So as we go through life, we might see things or hear things that bring fear into our lives, like maybe the dark, fear of the dark, fear of crocodiles or spiders. Sometimes we even fear things that are not real, like monsters under our beds or something. And this fear comes into our hearts and it sits there and it sits there. The only way to get this out of our hearts is to have Jesus in our lives. So the minute that we accept Jesus into our hearts and into our lives, this is what happens. Whoa! Look at all that fear just being kicked right out of our hearts. Isn't that amazing, guys? So when we let Jesus into our hearts, Jesus pushes out all that fear. Whoa! That is so cool, guys. So remember, guys, if you ever are feeling afraid, God tells us in 1 John 4 verses 18 that perfect love casts out all fear. So remember that scripture, guys. Bye.